Welcome to the Raven Space on YouTube. My name is Jason, and this is Raven Space Mailbag, where we answer your questions about the Baltimore Ravens. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited. This is the second mailbag of the week. Check out our first one if you haven't seen it. And also, I want to say subscribe and join the Raven Space team, because the more team members we have, the stronger we are. So please subscribe, like, and share this video as well. So let's get into the first question of the day. And this question comes from Michelle. And Michelle asked, who was the best defensive player this year? Thank you so much for your question, Michelle. Excuse me. Still a little under the weather, but you know, I'm keeping along. So there's a lot of places you can go with this. Who was the best? I think really there are about 3 or 4 people you can really name. And my choice is CJ Mosley, but we're going to talk about the other ones as well. Got CJ Mosley, Terrell Suggs, Eric Weddle, and Jimmy Smith. That's what I honestly think. Those are the ones. Now, why do I pick CJ Mosley? Because to me, he is the connective tissue on that defense. He's the best zone linebacker. He's the best run defender on the Ravens at linebacker. Not the best pass rusher, that's Terrell Suggs, but he does so many things very, very well. And really in a season where Eric Weddle had really a down year compared to last year, Tony Jefferson didn't really mesh as well as we thought he would. Only 1 interception on the year. Again, injuries hurt Jimmy Smith. Brandon Carr was good, but not, you know, at the level of the people I named before. And then Brandon Williams, his injury came back, was still a little slow. The answer has to be CJ Mosley. Led the team in tackles. Just a great player all around. I think he was the best player on the defense. Again, the leader of that very complicated defense that Dean Pease had. And so I think he's going to be the best defensive player of the year. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of information, I know you guys love some little sprinkle on top. Pro Football Focus says that the best, not only the best defensive player, but the best player on the entire team was Terrell Suggs with an 87.3 Pro Football Focus ranking. So that's what they say. They say Terrell Suggs. I say CJ Mosley. Let me know in the comments below, who do you guys think is the best? Answer all these questions and put questions down there too, so we can use it on the next episode as well. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, but you know, people make mistakes. Now we're going to go to the next question from Jason M. And this question is, why do the Ravens defense always melt down when the games matter? This is a great question, Jason. Again, great name, great question. And the reason is I think there's 2 main reasons, and this is why I have Jimmy Smith up. Because one reason is injuries. Injuries hurt the Ravens the past couple of years, and this is no exception. Jimmy Smith went down last year and this year. We had a bevy of players go down this year, like Tavon Young. Kennedy was injured for most of the year. A lot of players just got injured and got hurt, and when you're hurt, you can't help the team out. So, you know, it sucks. Now, to compound that, the system that the Ravens run on defense is complicated. It is a complex system. And what happens is you get young players who aren't used to the system, and they just look lost. They look lost in the system. You have players like Bronson Kafusi and Correa, who, you know, are a part of the team, but when they're out there, they look lost. More so Correa than Kafusi. Kafusi has some injury issues as well, but Correa, when he's out there, the man just looks lost. And it's because he's a young player, and it hurts him, right? I think at that line, if you're a young linebacker, like Judon, he's doing better with it than others. Yeah, like Zadarius is a great example. They get lost in it, and I don't know why. I just think it's because it's so complicated. And you even see when the other offenses are beating the Ravens, now they keep on doing underneath routes because it feels like the linebackers don't really feel the system, and then they get hit over the top. So I would say that it's a combination of injuries and the complicated scheme making young players who don't have it, they struggle in the scheme. So that's what I would say. Also, in some cases, the Ravens go up against great players, right? It's not that, you know, the Ravens defense is good, but the Steelers offense is better, right? The Steelers offense has 3 Hall of Famers, and offense already has an advantage, right? Because of the rule changes. So some of it's on the Ravens. A lot of it is, I think, just circumstance, injuries, the complicated scheme. Again, you see when Jimmy Smith is in, he understands the scheme, so he can get it. And the defense was much better. And I think that if you still had Jimmy Smith, the Ravens would be in the playoffs right now. So, you know, that's just how I feel. So, yeah. Now we're going to move on to the next question. And this question comes from Manny. And his question is, do the Ravens consider trading Joe Flacco? Good question, Manny. And the answer is yes. They consider it. But remember, no one wants Joe Flacco, right? They're going to call people, I think. I think Ozzy's going to try his best. But it's a combination of, one, no one wants Joe Flacco. Think of it this way, right? You're a general manager, right? And a lot of you guys have children. You have family members that you love and you take care of. Are you going to risk that on Joe Flacco? You saw how Joe Flacco played. Are you gonna risk your livelihood, the ability to feed your family on Joe Flacco? Because that's what a GM would be doing, right? The answer is no. If you trade for Joe Flacco, you take that cap, that money. The answer is no. You're not going to do that and put your family at risk and your livelihood at risk, right? Now, Aaron Rodgers, of course you would take that chance, right? You know, but Joe Flacco, no. Second thing is that the Ravens cut or trade, they will have a massive cap hit. You guys have to remember that even though Joe Flacco was performing like a $4 million quarterback, he's a $20 million quarterback. So when you get rid of him, you have a lot of dead money. I don't know exactly how much. Last time I saw, I believe it was around $12 million. But again, as the contract goes on, the numbers, you know, change, right? It's not the same. The same cap hit is not next year as it was for this year. So I would say they consider it, but the cap hit and the fact that no team wants Joe Flacco is going to prevent them from getting rid of Joe Flacco. So Joe Flacco will be your quarterback next year. And that's just the truth about it. So, you know, sometimes I wish it wasn't the case, but what can you do, right? He bet on himself and he won. And when you win, you get the spoils, right? We all know that. So it is what it is. Ravens fans, you have another 2 years of Joe Flacco, so get ready. Last question of the day, and if you did not get enough, please check out our other videos and subscribe too. And this question comes from Brett. And Brett asked, can you analyze Marlon Humphrey's season? Brett, I sure can. And I'll do it just for you and the Raven Space team. Humphrey had a great season. The perfect scenario worked out for Humphrey. It didn't end up being the perfect scenario for the Baltimore Ravens as a whole. But for Marlon Humphrey, it worked perfectly. Okay? You get Marlon Humphrey. You know, he had a little injury stuff, but you get him on the field against the Saints in the preseason, and then he performs well, and then you let him play another preseason game, right? And then the regular season starts, and he does 4 snaps, then he does 6 snaps, then he does 10 snaps, and he's performing high on all of his snaps. Then he does 13 snaps, and you're seeing that again, Marlon Humphrey did get beat, right? But he only got beat on routes that all cornerbacks get beat on, right? When a cornerback gets beat on a quick slant and man coverage, you know, okay, right? He had no help in back of him. There's no other way to play it, right? When a cornerback is playing one-on-one against a fast receiver and gets beat on a curl route, you know, the safeties weren't there, right? The safeties blitz. That's a very easy. You could beat any cornerback in the league on that play. Now, the routes that you usually see rookies get beat on, double moves. You know, they get beat when they have help over the top on curls and stuff. That didn't happen. He only got beat on those routes, those difficult routes, when he was all alone. So I think he has it now. And the most important thing that he has is, and that this is the most important thing for me for a cornerback. Do you have the guts, right? And what are the guts, you ask? Cornerbacks are always the worst player in the matchup, right? When I say that, you think of it like this, right? Imagine you are a cornerback, right? You have to think the offensive player, the receiver, is always going to be bigger than you most of the time, right? So 80% of the time, they're going to be bigger than you. They can catch better than you. They're faster than you. and they know what the play is. So those are 4 things right there off the top, right? We already know that they're bigger, they're faster, they can catch better, and they know the play. And I say that because if, for example, now back in the day it was different, but in today's league, especially in colleges, it's all about offense, right? So the fastest player, the biggest player is often put at quarterback. And then the best players who can catch the best are put at receiver. And that's just it, right? And so coming in, you have to have that gut, right? That's why you see cornerbacks like Richard Sherman, you know, like Jalen Ramsey, who's a great player right now. I think the best cornerback in the league. You have I forgot his name. He was in Carolina. Now he's on the Redskins. Josh Norman. These players, right, who you see them play and you think to yourself, they're jackasses, right? But you got to think, right, when every day your job is, I need to beat a player that's bigger, faster, stronger, can catch better, and knows where to go, and I don't know any of that stuff. You have to get an edge to you, right? You have to be nasty. You got to do something to get an advantage, and I think he has that. I saw an interview with him where he was saying when he went to Pittsburgh and everyone was booing him, he loved it, right? That's the type of player you need, and he is that player at cornerback. And I think he has the guts, and that's one of the most important things for me for a cornerback. Cornerbacks that are passive play passive, and that's just the case. So I'm happy about him. I think right now he has enormous potential to be a shutdown cornerback, and that game against Pittsburgh really showed his guts. It really showed his ability to recover, and that was my biggest gripe against him in college, is that when you look at his stats, he looks pretty good. But you played on an Alabama defense where you got beat, and I would say at least once a game, Humphrey got beat in Alabama, but he had the speed to recover, right? I would watch the film and I would say, Humphrey, you're a good player, but you're getting beat on every double move, right? You happen to recover, but you're getting beat. And in the pros, he did not have that problem. So congratulations. I think he had a very great season, a B season. And I think next year, they should give him a chance to start, and I think he'll be a great player. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please put questions in the comments below. I love the questions, and I use them for all the episodes, so please do that. Again, subscribe, like, and share on Facebook. Help us grow. Thank you guys so much, and go Ravens.